to, because that's how family actually gets.
Listen to me. I don't have to. He
Chrissy,
has to. That's your son.
No,
he has to. I
no,
don't
you have
to.
to remember,
This
once
is a choice.
you and him get married, and really, as far as I'm concerned, y'all are married, okay? And if you're part of him, okay, and that means he's definitely me, that means that you're part of me.
The tension in the room was palpable as Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin faced off, their voices rising in a heated argument. Friends and family stood nearby, exchanging glances and words, unsure of how to intervene. Known for his fiery temper, Jim was escalating quickly, and Chrissy was not backing down. "You think you can just talk to me like that?" Chrissy shouted, her voice shaking with a mix of anger and disbelief. "You've crossed the line, Jim." Jim's frustration boiled over. "You don't get to dictate how I handle things," he barked, his face flushed with emotion. The air crackled with tension as he took a step closer, his eyes narrowing. In a sudden, shocking move, he slapped Chrissy across the face. The sound echoed in the room, and everyone gasped, stunned into silence. Chrissy stumbled back, her hand flying to her cheek, shock giving way to intense fury. "You've lost your mind," she yelled, her voice now a mixture of disbelief and outrage. The atmosphere in the room shifted dramatically, tension thickening as everyone processed what had just happened. Just then, Jim's son, who had been watching from the sidelines, stepped forward. He had seen enough. "Dad, that's enough. You can't treat her like that." His voice was firm, filled with a blend of concern and indignation. "Stay out of this," Jim snapped, but his son stood his ground, determination etched across his face. "No, I won't. You can't just hit her and expect everything to be okay. You're better than this, Dad." The room buzzed with tension as the confrontation unfolded, the onlookers frozen in disbelief. "Better than this," Jim echoed, incredulous. "You think you know how to run my life? I'm the one who makes the rules here." "You're making a huge mistake," his son replied, shaking his head in disappointment. "This isn't how you handle problems. You're pushing everyone away." Chrissy, still reeling from the slap, took a step closer, her voice steadier now. "You need to listen to him, Jim. This is toxic, and I won't stand for it." Her tone was resolute, fueled by the support of his son, and it cut through the tension like a knife. In a moment of defiance, Jim's son pointed toward the door. "If you think this is okay, then maybe you need to leave. This isn't the man I look up to." His words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Jim's face turned a deeper shade of red, a mixture of embarrassment and anger boiling over. "You think you can kick me out of my own house?" he growled. "Yes, I can. If this is how you treat the people you love, then you're not welcome here. You need to get your act together." The tension in the room was electric, everyone holding their breath as Jim grappled with the confrontation. The weight of his son's words seemed to resonate, and for a moment he hesitated, caught between anger and realization. "Fine," he spat, his voice low and strained. "If that's how it's going to be, I'll leave with that." Jim stormed out the front door, slamming it behind him. The moment he left, the atmosphere shifted. Chrissy and his son exchanged a glance, relief washing over them. "Are you okay?" his son asked, concern etched on his face as he turned to Chrissy. She nodded, though her emotions were still raw. I just can't believe he crossed that line. It's not just about the slap, it's everything leading up to it." "Neither can I," his son replied, shaking his head. "We need to stand our ground. This isn't just about today, it's about what we allow in our lives moving forward." They both took a deep breath, the weight of the situation settling around them. It wasn't just about a physical altercation, it was a wake-up call. Jim had been spiraling, and both of them knew it. As they sat in the quiet room, the reality of the moment began to sink in. "I've always cared about him, but I can't let this continue," Chrissy said, her voice soft but resolute. "I won't let him treat me or anyone like that anymore." His son nodded in agreement. "We need to address this as a family. If he's willing to change, then maybe there's hope. But if not, we have to protect ourselves." The conversation lingered in the air, a mix of hope and uncertainty. They both understood that confronting Jim about his behavior wouldn't be easy, but it was necessary. Hours passed and the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the room. "Do you think he'll come back?" Chrissy asked, a hint of worry in her voice. "I don't know," his son replied thoughtfully, "but if he does, we have to be ready. We can't just sweep this under the rug. It's time to have an honest conversation." As the night wore on, the bond between Chrissy and his son grew stronger. They had stood together against the tide of toxicity, creating a safe space for one another. The road ahead would be challenging, but they were prepared to face it, united in their determination to foster a healthier environment. When Jim returned later, it would be under a new understanding. The door had been opened for change, and both Chrissy and his son were ready to walk through it together. In a sleek, modern studio filled with the soft hum of anticipation, Jim Jones sat across from the camera, the weight of his emotions clear on his face. He leaned forward, ready to unveil a shocking chapter of his life. "Let me get straight to the point," he began, his voice steady yet charged with intensity. "For years, I thought I had it all figured out: love, success, a future with Chrissy. But recently, I discovered something that shattered everything I believed in. My wife, Chrissy Lampkin, stole my $7 million." He paused, letting the gravity of his words sink in, and his eyes locked on the camera, as if daring anyone to challenge his truth. The sun dipped low over New York City, casting a golden hue on the bustling streets below. Inside a trendy restaurant, the atmosphere was electric, filled with laughter and clinking glasses, but at one table, things were about to take a dramatic turn. Chrissy Lampkin sat across from Jim Jones, her expression a mix of determination and frustration. The couple had been through their fair share of ups and downs, but tonight felt different. A shadow loomed over their conversation. The tension between Chrissy and Jim's mother had reached a boiling point. "Jim, we need to talk about your mom," Chrissy said, her voice steady but laced with emotion. "I can't keep pretending everything is fine when she disrespects me at every turn." Jim sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I know, but she's my mother. You have to understand where she's coming from." Chrissy leaned in, her eyes blazing. "It's not just your mother, it's how she treats me. You can't keep making excuses for her." The air crackled with unresolved feelings as Jim's phone buzzed on the table. It was a text from his mom, a barrage of words that sent Jim's face hardening. "I can't believe this. She's texting me right now, saying you're causing drama in our family with that. The dam broke. Drama? All I'm trying to do is be a part of your life, but your mom won't let me." Chrissy's voice rose, drawing attention from nearby tables. Jim's temper flared. "You're always at her throat. Maybe if you just tried to understand her, things would be different." Before Chrissy could respond, a figure appeared at the edge of their table, Jim's mother, eyes blazing with indignation. "I've had enough of your disrespect, Chrissy. You think you can just walk in here and take my son from me?" The tension snapped like a taut string. Chrissy shot back, "I'm not trying to take him from you, but you need to respect me." In a split second, the situation escalated. Jim stood up, trying to intervene, but Chrissy's words hung in the air like a challenge. "You're going to let her talk to me like that?" Jim's face twisted in conflict as he felt the weight of loyalty to his mother pulling at him. "Mom, please," but Chrissy was done. She shot up from her seat, the anger radiating off her like heat from a fire. "This is why we can't work. You let her dictate everything." In the midst of the chaos, Jim's frustration peaked. He moved to block Chrissy's path, but in a moment of heated impulse, his hand connected with her cheek, a slap that shocked the entire restaurant into silence. Gasps erupted around them. Jim's eyes widened in disbelief, his heart racing as he realized what he had just done. Chrissy stood frozen, hurt flickering across her face, but behind the pain was a fiery determination. "Is this who you are?" she whispered, tears welling up. "You choose her over me." Jim's heart sank. In that moment, he understood the weight of his actions. "Chrissy, But she cut him off, her voice steady. "No, Jim, you need to figure out what you want, because I won't be part of a love triangle with your mother with that." She turned on her heel and walked away, leaving Jim standing there. The silence of the restaurant closed in around him, the reality of what had just unfolded settling heavily in the air. Love, loyalty, and betrayal intertwined in a bitter dance. Jim's heart raced as he realized this was a turning point. Would he fight for Chrissy or let the tides of family loyalty drown their love? The decision loomed, and in that moment he knew everything was about to change. While he did say yes upon her getting down on one knee, the couple had yet to tie the knot. New York, December 13th, Chrissy Lampkin and Jim Jones backstage at Deuce Palooza at Barclays Center on December 13th, 2019, in New York City. Photo by Johnny Nunes, Wire image. At some point, it has to stop, Chrissy Lampkin tells Jim Jones. By 2021, despite being together 18 years at the time, Lampkin seemed over the idea of marriage. On VH1's third season of Family Reunion Love and Hip Hop Edition, after he proposed the idea of them finally getting married, she surprisingly said no. She added, "You want me to be this loving, crazy cook, this, that, and the other, but you come home and you're mean and you're cold and you're distant." The couple had a fiery back and forth where Jones acknowledged his wrongdoings and fear of commitment. "I've always been a man of my family, so all I know how to do is try to support and try to make money. I don't want you thinking I'm selfish in any way, because I love you more than I could love anything in this world. It's been a long road." However, in Chrissy's opinion, at some point it has to stop. In a recent episode of Love, Hip Hop New York, Chrissy Lampkin elaborated on the reasons behind her and Jim's prolonged engagement. During the latest broadcast, she discussed her return to the show after nearly 7 years, noting that the producers had reached out to her first with a desire to bring her back. They wanted to get back to the essence of the show, she remarked. Reflecting on her relationship, she stated, "Our relationship is in a good place. I thought marriage was the natural progression, but it's not for everyone. We're good right now." The journey of Chrissy and Jim has been riddled with challenges since they first began dating in 2004. Over the years, they've faced numerous relationship hurdles, which Chrissy has candidly discussed. In 2016, she explained her decision to remain in a long-term engagement with her then fiancé, stating, "What's the point of marrying before one of us is truly ready? I don't want to go through a divorce over that. People move at their own pace, and I'm here because I've made this decision." Their relationship has been a significant part of Love Hip Hop, with the upcoming season 10 scheduled to debut on December 16th on VH1, featuring the couple prominently. A memorable episode depicted Chrissy leaving Jim in New York and relocating to Miami, a pivotal moment many fans regarded as a turning point in their relationship. Sensing he might lose her, Jim took a bold step and proposed to Chrissy in Miami, hoping to compensate for what many perceived as his previous lack of commitment. Yet, despite this grand gesture, the couple chose not to marry, leaving fans wondering about the future of their relationship. Through the years, glimpses of their